Well, it's that time of year again where you're going to start seeing all types of rumor mill speculation talk that we are right around the corner from the next Nintendo Direct presentation, as if you just purely look at history, January, February, or March are all somewhat likely months for Nintendo to hold this staple showcase, with February being the most likely culprit, but there are a couple different quote-unquote leaks and rumors floating around online, having many wondering if we will be getting some kind of presentation or even just a straight-up game reveal in the month of January leading into the mainline February Direct. And in today's video, I want to break down all of the newest rumor and speculation talk online around what we should be expecting from the upcoming Nintendo Direct, talk about which games are most likely to be there, and ultimately when we should most likely take this staple event that I am very excited for to take place this year. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, as I mentioned, guys, today we are talking all things upcoming Nintendo Direct 2023 presentation, as Nintendo historically will always hold one at the beginning of the year. Now, sometimes this could fall into the month of January, it could be February, the most likely month because that's what history shows us, or there are those rare exceptions where it is also in March. You can kind of dig in and look into what Nintendo's release lineup looks like so far and get a little bit of context on what makes the most sense for them to announce the exact date of this event. As we know, in the month of January, we will be looking forward to the release of Fire Emblem Engage out on the 20th of this month, and Nintendo will want to really focus a lot of their marketing and build-up efforts to this game's release, probably ahead of any kind of Direct. I don't believe that we would get a Direct any sooner than the 20th, and most likely it would be a few days after Fire Emblem Engage launches at the bare minimum, if we can expect one in January at all. The only other games we officially have on Nintendo's 2023 roadmap, and why there should be a lot of eyes on this potential upcoming Direct, is the fact that once you get past Fire Emblem Engage, we have Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which is a Wii port but remastered for the Nintendo Switch. I will actually be picking that one up. I can't remember, I think I briefly played through it on the Wii, but definitely one that I think is better suited for the Switch, and I will absolutely be checking it out at release. Then you have Bayonetta Origins, kind of a smaller spin-off Bayonetta title that I do think is interesting from a story perspective, but if you look at the gameplay, it doesn't seem like it should be a major $60 release, and it is being sold as that, but that will be out March 17th. Then we skip all the way to May of 2023, where Zelda Tears of the Kingdom will have arguably the biggest Switch launch of the year. I don't think any game tops this year, even if we get the announcement of a mainline 3D Mario game coming out towards the end of the year. I still think Zelda Tears of the Kingdom legitimately will be the biggest Nintendo Switch game of 2023, period. And finally, we have Pikmin 4 rounding out the official 2023 roadmap for Nintendo, but no real gameplay footage of this game has surfaced so far, and they are also not committing to any particular part of the year for Pikmin 4's release, so logically we should assume this game to come later in the year of 2023, most likely an October, November, or even December game potentially. So what's causing all of the speculation online to ramp up that maybe even as soon as January we will see something like a Nintendo Direct presentation and Nintendo do something historically different than what we've seen them do in recent years? Well, first off, you have the very recent leak or rumor from somebody who is an accredited leaker that has not been wrong so far with the Reddit account, saying that are Nintendo fans primed and ready, obviously hinting to the Metroid Prime remaster that's been talked about for so long. Maybe it's Prime Trilogy HD. We're just going to call it Prime 1 Remaster for the sake of this video, as that's what the latest sources, Jeff Grubb, Emily Rogers, Nate the Hate, you name it, have all really kind of switched to, saying that that's what they've heard from contacts they have, most likely at Retro Studios. I don't blame you if you think this game has been talked about too long in the rumor mill speculation talk. Maybe it's not real at all, but I do think it makes logical sense for Nintendo to want to release that at some point in 2023 as we build up the marketing hype for Prime 4 that is most likely a further out title. Maybe we're lucky to see it in 2024 at this point. But you would assume a big return for something like Metroid Prime would be dropped at a Direct. Could Nintendo do it as a standalone Twitter drop? They absolutely could. We've seen them do more unique things with big game reveals on Twitter or just a YouTube trailer upload. in recent years than we've ever seen them do before, but that is definitely a wild card possibility for Prime 4's reveal, and maybe that's all we're really getting in January in terms of news. You then also have a tweet that's been making the rounds from Paul Gale Network over on Twitter, where he says 7 of 12 Februaries have had a Nintendo Direct of some sort, 58% chance in 2023. And you can then see all of the dates in this tweet, as February, month in and month out, is always the most likely month for any kind of Nintendo Direct presentation, especially the mainline ones. But then you do also see multiple repeat events taking place in January and in March. And then following up that tweet, he says the following: I have heard that there is a good chance for a Nintendo Direct Mini or a game-specific Nintendo Direct to drop in January. And he points out 01/25/19, Nintendo announced to the public that Metroid Prime 4 was rebooted under Retro Studios. Their development likely began before November 2018. So does any of that info really for sure tell us that we should be expecting a Direct presentation in the month of January instead of February, or in February instead of March? No, it really doesn't. We are legitimately trying to predict and talk about a company that has the most ridiculous, unpredictable track record, and so with that, always keep that stuff in mind when we're talking about anything Nintendo that doesn't come officially from Nintendo, right? That said, there is a lot of reasons to be hyped, and I don't think Nintendo just skips a Nintendo Direct in the month of January, February, or March. I definitely think it happens one of those months, and I think that June is a likely date for the next Direct past that. And I think that September is the next event past that, because all you have to do is look at their track record with Nintendo Direct presentations, and you will see that 9 times out of 10, that is a loose schedule to what they stick to. The one reason I can see January being a more likely month for the Direct this year is because of the launch date of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where you would logically expect that Nintendo wants to have a long lead up to the marketing around that game, and February, especially if it's in the middle part of the month, does feel like somewhat of a short ramp to get to May, especially if they are going to reveal and start taking pre-orders for something like the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom OLED. If we are to believe that leak is true, I think Nintendo would want to get out as soon as possible, and something like late January might make a ton of sense to talk about all of the new gameplay features of that game and to start selling the pre-orders of the title itself, plus that Tears of the Kingdom themed OLED, which, if they stick to the pattern of what they did with Splatoon and with the Pokemon Edition OLEDs, we should actually expect that OLED to launch before, probably a week or two earlier than what the game actually does launch at, which would mean it might launch at the end of April or the very beginning of May. So yes, there is a lot of reason to start to pull back the curtain on more Tears of the Kingdom stuff, and we have to really see a broader picture of what Nintendo has to come sooner rather than later, because as we talk through the roadmap, there's not a ton on there right now when it comes to new Switch releases. And while not every year is stacked with major first-party Switch games, I don't think Nintendo takes their foot off the gas this year, and if anything, if we are to believe that we are nearing closer to the end of the Switch's life cycle and that the true successor may come in a year like 2024, I think we start to see them shift to rely on more easy ports and remasters brought over. Games like Metroid Prime 1 through 3, F-Zero GX potentially being revealed at this upcoming Direct. We know Bandai Namco is hiring for that 3D action game again. That could be Kid Icarus. We had Sakurai legitimately look at the camera and say, I hope someone ports it, with a very ominous look in his eye, like, we know he's probably working on that right now, and the job description would fit it. And there's all these talks online from gaming journalists suggesting that maybe past Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, there are no major releases for the existing hardware today, not meaning that there aren't big games planned. Pikmin 4 is going to be a very enjoyable big game for Nintendo, but not from a sales perspective. It is a very niche franchise, and we might be talking about things like more simple ports and remasters to carry through the Switch towards the end of its life cycle as Nintendo starts to develop the next-gen mainline games on their new hardware. So where do I personally fall on all of this stuff? I think February is the most likely month, with maybe some of the rumor mill speculation talk about something being announced in January, that it is just that. Could it be a Fire Emblem Engage Direct? Maybe. I don't necessarily think that is needed for this game, and I do think Nintendo's already dropping a ton of trailers for it, so I would be surprised if it's that. Maybe it's just a standalone GoldenEye reveal, and that's the big deal for something from Nintendo in January. because I definitely think there is enough fans and eyeballs on that game's release that you could generate quite a bit of buzz online for it. Or again, the wild card could be that a Metroid Prime announcement when it comes to the remaster hits in January. Maybe they give us that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom style development update for Metroid Prime 4 and also follow it up with, hey Metroid fans, thanks for your patience. Here's Prime 1 remaster while you're waiting. Like, that's definitely all in the realm of possibility for the month of January. I think a full mainline direct is less likely for this month personally, but I will definitely be paying close attention to each week in February, as I do think that that is logically when we should expect the next mainline Nintendo Direct presentation to take place. But I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, all your personal thoughts and speculation around how Nintendo will handle the beginning of 2023 game announcements. Do you think we get something standalone in January? Do you think that is a mainline Nintendo Direct, or do you think it's something smaller, if anything at all, and that we should expect the first mainline Direct of the year to take place in the month of February? Or are you on Team March, thinking that it's actually going to be longer than what many are suggesting online? And bonus question, share with me what games you hope we see revealed at that event the most above any other. So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.